Yeah, in this video, we'll be understanding a type of reaction called oxidation and reduction. This is also called redox reaction. Uh, Oxidation is what? Like oxidation is either it is addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Both is correct, right? So any reaction in which oxygen is getting added and hydrogen is getting hydrogen is getting removed, that part of the reaction is called oxidation. Look into this example here. Carbon, when reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. You can say that carbon, the reactant here, is gaining oxygen. It is gaining oxygen to form carbon dioxide. So this part of the reaction is oxidation. Now, more examples you can see here also. Copper oxide. Copper here reacts with oxygen. When it is actually heated strongly, it turns into copper oxide. Here too, you can see that copper is gaining oxygen to form copper oxide. So again, an oxidation. Now, it can be the other way also. That is, look into this one. What happens in this reaction here? Hydrogen is gaining oxygen. So look, this part of the reaction, that is hydrogen gaining oxygen, you may call this as again an oxidation. I'm just talking about this part of the reaction. Now, you should also know that oxidation and reduction does not take place simultaneously. I mean, so any particular reactions cannot alone be called as an oxidation or can be reduction. Like oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously. That can better be understood by taking this example. Look into this reaction. The reaction here in copper oxide, when it reacts with hydrogen, in fact, it is heated in the by passing hydrogen gas and simultaneously heated, it turns into copper and hydrogen. Now, when you look into this part of the reaction, what is happening here? That copper oxide is losing oxygen. So the loss of oxygen is called reduction. Well, in the other part of the reactions, as you can see, hydrogen is gaining oxygen. As you know, gain of oxygen is oxidation. So one particular reaction and one section of one substance is getting reduced and the other is getting oxidized. And as I said, one particular reaction cannot be an oxidation alone or reduction alone. Therefore, we call them as redox reaction. Reason being, both takes place simultaneously in a reaction. That means if one is getting oxidized, the other must be getting reduced, or if one is getting reduced, the other must be getting oxidized. There are few more terms associated with this. One can easily identify the substance getting oxidized. How is that possible? Look into this. Hydrogen gaining oxygen. So the substance oxidized will be hydrogen. Right? Substance getting oxidized is hydrogen. And if I ask you, which is the substance getting reduced? Clearly, it is copper oxide, which is losing copper oxide, which is losing oxygen. Therefore, this is getting reduced. Moreover, they can also ask you the oxidizing agent and reducing agent. The substance which is getting oxidized is hydrogen, but who is supplying oxygen to it? It is copper oxide. Therefore, copper oxide should be considered as the oxidizing agent, the agent here. And similarly, hydrogen can be considered as the reducing agent. Well, there are four terms, as I said. One is they can ask you, there are four things that they can ask you. Number one, substance oxidized, substance reduced, oxidizing agent, and reducing agent. Well, in all such case, all four parts has to be one of the reactant. Product should not be your answer, right? Sometimes many of a student, they write the product. It's always either it is the substance oxidized, substance reduced, oxidizing agent, reducing agent. They are one of the reactants. So once again, one last time we can see here that substance oxidized is this. So the substance which gets oxidized should be considered as the reducing agent, and the substance getting reduced should be considered as an oxidizing agent. So if you can just identify any one of them, you can answer remaining three parts like this. For example, if you have identified the substance oxidized is this. So clearly the other one is the substance reduced. Sorry, yeah, substance reduced. And if this is the substance reduced, then clearly this must be oxidizing agent, the opposite. And if this the substance getting oxidized, so this will be reducing agent. This is how we do it. More clarity will come as we do some questions based on this. Here also we have taken two such examples to understand the substance oxidized and substance reduced. This is lead oxide, right? This is lead oxide. As you can see, lead oxide during this reaction turns into lead. So therefore it is losing oxygen. This very clearly shown lead oxide. And a loss of oxygen is reduction. So this is getting reduced. Now the other one, that is carbon. Carbon, as you can see, is gaining oxygen. So this is getting oxidized. And as I said, the reverse is the substance getting oxidized is called the reducing agent, and the substance getting reduced is called the oxidizing agent, right? It's just the opposite. As I said, the substance which is getting oxidized, the substance which is getting oxidized, the substance is this getting oxidized, so this will be called as a reducing agent, and the reverse way, this is getting reduced, so this will be called as an oxidizing agent. Now, when we look into the second one, look into this reaction, if you can see that this oxide of manganese, sorry, what is happening with this? It is losing oxygen, right? As you can see, it is losing oxygen. So the substance getting reduced, right? The substance getting reduced is this. This is the getting substance reduced, and you can say that this is getting oxidized. Why it is getting oxidized? How do we figure out that is getting oxidized? As you can see, chlorine is losing hydrogen, and loss of hydrogen is oxidation. As I said, if you can identify any one of them, the substance oxidized or substance reduced, whichever you find easy, you can answer the remaining part of this question. So as of now, I'm finding this part as easy. This is getting reduced. So if this is getting reduced, clearly this will be oxidized, and the one which gets oxidized is the reducing agent, and the one gets reduced is the oxidizing agent. So one final time we can say that, what we can say here, that substance oxidized is this, substance reduced is this, oxidizing agent is this again, as it is getting reduced, and this is the reducing agent. As you can see, this is getting oxidized. We are doing one more questions based on the same concept. This is an assertion and reason based question. The reaction is same as we did. They're saying that it is a redox reaction. Has to be. We just discussed that. Here there is a loss and gain of oxygen and hydrogen. Therefore, this is a redox reaction. Let's figure out whether the reason is correct or not. Now look into this here. They are saying that manganese oxidizes HCl. Now you need to understand this. Manganese is not saying that manganese is getting oxidized. It's saying manganese is oxidizing HCl, right? And that's true in the reaction. As you can see here, the reaction, if you see, manganese dioxide, right, is oxidizing HCl, and that's why we say that this is correct. It is oxidizing HCl, and HCl is getting oxidized. HCl is getting oxidized to produce chlorine, and itself means this itself is getting reduced. So both assertion and reason are correct, and it's the correct explanation as well. Last time, it's the reason says that this manganese dioxide is oxidizing HCl, so definitely it is the oxidizing agent. That's why it is oxidizing HCl. And itself, that is manganese oxide getting reduced. As you know, the substance which is an oxidizing agent is the substance which gets reduced. One last question we are doing based on the same concepts. As you can see here, let me just tell you the part we are going to do here. This is the reaction here. We are taking the same reactions so as to strengthen the concept. They're asking for the substance oxidized. The substance oxidized, if you identify, is HCl, because right, HCl is losing hydrogen, and loss of hydrogen is considered as oxidation. So HCl is getting, this is HCl is getting oxidized. Now, next they are asking for the oxidizing agent. So we can skip as of now. Let's first find out the substance reduced. So substance reduced, as I said, if this is getting oxidized, therefore the other one is getting reduced. So here MnO₂ is getting reduced. And as I said, they have a reverse relation. The substance oxidized is the reducing agent. So reducing agent, the substance oxidized will be reducing agent, and the substance getting reduced will be considered as the oxidizing agent. One more time, substance getting oxidized, here the HCl is getting oxidized, so it will be called as a reducing agent, and the substance, which is this one, getting reduced, will be considered as the oxidizing agent. That's a reverse one. Huh? One last time, substance getting oxidized will be reducing agent, so the reducing agent has to be MnO₂, and the substance getting oxidized is the reducing agent, and it has to be HCl. One similar question is this also. We have to identify the substance oxidized and substance reduced in the first part. Let's do one at a time. Look into this. If I identify the first one, just look into this. This says oxide of iron. It is losing oxygen. So clearly, this one is getting reduced. And the other one, right, the other one is aluminum here. It is gaining oxygen. So it is clearly getting oxidized. As I said, and several times I said, the substance getting reduced is the oxidizing agent. So this is the oxidizing agent. And the substance which is getting oxidized has to be reducing agent. The substance is this getting oxidized. So aluminum is getting oxidized. So it will be reducing agent. If you do the second part of this, right? What's the second part says here? B part. The same thing we have to identify. If you look into the first reactant, is lead oxide. As you can see, lead oxide is losing oxygen, turning into lead. So we can say this is getting reduced. Carbon is gaining oxygen. Carbon is now gaining oxygen to turn into carbon dioxide. Therefore, it is the substance getting oxidized. One last time, substance getting oxidized is the reducing agent. Substance which is getting reduced is the oxidizing agent.